And I think we are live across Facebook, High Performance CEO Method, and also across LinkedIn. Welcome to guys who are tuning in live. If you are watching live, just let me know. Give me a hashtag live. And look, if you're not and you're catching this on replay, either across LinkedIn or in the Facebook group, let me know as well with hashtag replay. Hope you guys have had a fantastic week this week. My week has been a tale of two halves, going up to London, which was nice. I hadn't been there in a little while. It was good to get stuck in, see some family, see some clients actually, and see some friends as well. But unfortunately, my son is he's been in hospital actually for the last in and out of hospital with RSV, which is affecting some stuff on his lungs. A lot of kids will get this, right? But it's been pretty bad for him. So tale of two halves this week. We're just going to do a quick tech check to make sure that this stuff is coming through. Sometimes there's some delays with getting onto the platform. So just want to make sure that we are live. Cool. We're in LinkedIn and we are on Facebook. Exciting times. So look, guys, we're going to cover today, we're going to cover something pretty cool, something pretty unique, right? And I know that some of you will have seen some of the preamble for this. I call it the 4 pillars of transformation. And really it's something that collectively has taken me, I don't know, maybe sort of the last 4 or 5 years to pull together, iterate, reiterate, and actually just tweak and evolve it so that it really becomes a system of peak sustainable performance. So I'm excited to share this with you. Right? I really want you to get some takeaways from this. And if you do going through, if you've got any questions, I'm historically bad for actually getting on and answering them, but I will try and make sure that we do that. And again, if you're watching it on replay, don't hesitate to drop a question in the comments, and I'll make sure that I swing around and just give you some thoughts. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it, right? So the 4 pillars of transformation, right? And this is, how to level up and ensure that any change initiatives, right? Transformation is just a posh word for change. So any change that you do lasts long term. It's not just a short-lived phenomenon. And what are some of the outcomes? Because look, this isn't like I don't work as a life coach. I work very data-driven in the results, in the outcomes. So typically, what sort of results can you get? Well, obviously, my background being health and fitness initially, there's 20 to 30 pounds in 90 days is what most people can expect to lose by adopting this sort of system. But then beyond that, if you actually take some of the principles, take some of these key pillars and implement them, which is the most important thing, right? Implementation, not information. If it was as easy as like, invest this amount of money in this thing and it will appreciate, or do this exercise and this nutrition plan and you'll get a 6-pack, we'd all be 6-pack millionaires, 6-packs, so we'd all be millionaires with 6-packs walking around. It's not, right? But if you do implement some of this stuff, some of the benefits or the outcomes that you can expect is up to an additional 52 days back in your year to do whatever you want with, work more, enjoy more time. And we're going to, sometimes people raise an eyebrow at this. I'm going to go into some of the maths behind this, and just so you can see how it works, right? And also to earn, on average, I put plus here, right? But on average, $12,500 more per annum. So for you guys in the UK, that's about £10,000, right? And for some of you guys, that's a drop in the ocean, right? Some of you, you big wigs out there. But look, for other guys, it's like actually applying some of this stuff is really going to help you earn more, right? Consistently. And I say as a minimum, right? Because if you consistently do some of this stuff, you're going to get more done in your day. You're going to become more efficient. You're going to become more productive. And it's not a system unless, in my mind, without cutting out all the fun stuff, right? Or without being glued to devices. So this is not about kind of depriving yourself. This is not about becoming a workaholic, right? None of the systems or principles I'm going to go through will make you do that. So rest assured, right? So this, as I said, has been developed from years in the trenches as a personal trainer, as a corporate executive, as a director, as a coach. And I've taken methodologies and blended them into the 4 pillars of transformation. And really, what was the catalyst for this, if I'm honest, was I was tired of solutions not working for people who work in demanding, high stress environments. And one of the biggest limiting factors is that they don't have very much time, right? So there had to be a better way, right? Slim fast, right? This is just the physical aspect, but right, slim fast, Joe Wicks, high intensity, like all of these kind of like fads, they sometimes they work, but it was like what was behind them, like in some cases working and in some cases not. And what we started to see when we analyzed it was actually that the reason why they don't work is because diet and exercise on its own is not enough for peak performance, right? And it's not enough for you to succeed. So if you're a successful professional and you're trying to take your career to the next level, trying to grow your business and you're family orientated, you want to look after your health and you've got a social life as well, diet and exercise, I'm sorry, it's not quite enough to succeed anymore. But the good news is we're going to go through what is. So really simply in this session, you're going to learn 2 things, right? What are the 4 key pillars of transformation and why understanding them, right, on a theoretical basis, but then also sort of practically applying them, it will start to show you where, how, and why you might have failed in the past. And the second thing is how to improve your own performance and rise to whatever your next level is, right? So, I've worked with clients that are, earning 5 figures, right? Not quite broken into the 6-figure mark, senior managers, right? Trying to get to that next level, that head of level, right? Maybe create some more balance and structure in their life. Equally, I've worked with 8-figure business owners, right? Who their next level is very, very different, right? So whatever your next level is, this system has practical implications for you. So a little bit about me, and some of you guys might have seen this before. Some of you might already know who I am. I work as an elite health and performance coach for directors, VPs, and business owners, right? CXO. We have a unique methodology that we use called the High Performance CEO Method. It stands for clarity, energy, and optimization. It's a 3-phase system that when clients come and work with me, that's the system that they all use. And what do? So if I was stuck in an elevator with you and trying to explain it simply, I help successful professionals, people who are already successful in a number of areas of their life, gain that additional unfair advantage by looking, feeling, and performing better. So again, a bit more background to me. So I'm an ex-FTSE 100 executive, used to work in City London, now work as an international performance coach. Most of my clients are in the UK and the USA. At my heart, so when I'm not coaching, when I'm not consulting, when I'm not building things, I am a challenge enthusiast. So I don't know why. I think my first one was probably about 10 years ago, maybe slightly longer, month-long triathlon. But I've done other cool things like 100-mile run. We've done Ironman. We've done multiple sort of back-to-back marathons, done white-collar boxing, done a couple of body transformations. So what I really like to get stuck into is understanding the psychology behind peak physical and mental performance, right? And testing things on myself before I say, hey, right, client X, client Y, let's go and try this out, right? So this worked for me. Let's see if it works for you, right? And then tweaking and evolving these systems over time. So when I'm not working, when I'm not coaching, when I'm not on the bike or running or in the gym, I'm a father, right? That's my little son, Hector there. I was talking about at the beginning. Poor little man's been a little bit unwell over the last couple of days, definitely, but last week or so. And my wife is Victoria, who we've known each other for, it's like almost, no, it is more than 20 years, right? Not been together that long. I think we'd probably be, we would not be together now if we were been sort of together that long. But we've been married, happily married for the last sort of 3 years, and she's very much the sort of bedrock of our family unit. So worked with big firms up in London, BT, RS, O2, consultancy work for IFBC, champion ambassador for Malaria No More. That's a different story on the malaria part, and we'll tell that another day. So what you guys came here for, which is the 4 pillars of transformation, right? How to level up and ensure that change lasts. And what are they, right? So when we boil down successful transformation to move the dial, to actually change up things, right? We want 4 key elements, right? One is exercise and movement, right? The second one is nutrition and energy, right? As an example, we know that, let's say you're trying to lose weight, right? We know that you're eating in a calorie surplus at the moment. You're eating more calories than you're consuming, right? But we want to get a nutritional protocol that is both sustainable and scientific, right? That actually looks at the science, things like TDEE, AMR, BMR, but also doesn't put you in a state where it's too stressful, it's too restrictive, it doesn't fit your lifestyle. Now, nutrition is one side, but energy is the other side of the equation, right? Because the nutrition that we take in is the energy in our bodies, but it's energizing the mind as well. And there's specific structures that we do to do that. Number 3 is high performance routines, right? Those people that have high performance routines embedded in their life on average earn $12,500 more per year. So high performance routines are there to physically, mentally, and emotionally get you ready for your day, or to help you unwind from your day. They're the book tails to your day. And lifestyle changes are how we work out the habits, the beliefs, right, that are going to serve you moving forwards. And then we work out the ones that aren't, right? So we fit exercise and nutrition into your lifestyle. We fit the performance routines into your lifestyle. And the 4th and final pillar of transformation is your mindset. Now, your mindset is really just the cognitive thought that drives behavior. It can be also termed as the inner dialogue. What do you say to yourself when no one else is listening? What are the predominant thoughts and also feelings, right? We are thinking, feeling machines, or some people like to say we are feeling, thinking machines, right? That both are linked, right? So these are the 4 pillars of transformation. And we're going to jump into each one, and we're going to talk about some of the things that you can take away from today and actually put into your schedule, right? Start to learn some of the principles here and actually apply them to your day, your week. So the first one is exercise and movement, right? Now we want to be, the body was designed to move. So the framework that I use here is called Anytime, Anywhere framework, right? Which is my specific framework. Now, when people used to ask me, they used to say, Alex, when's the best time for me to exercise? And I'd say, whenever you can fit it in. And I still stand by that. But for successful professionals, I now believe that 5 to 20 minutes of morning exercise, generally in a fasted state, is absolutely pivotal to starting your day, right? A couple of reasons for that, right? Just 10 minutes of high intensity interval training will increase your testosterone level by up to 18% and decrease your cortisol level by 30%. Exercising in a fasted state, as long as the window's been 6 hours, will allow you to burn up to 3 times more fat, right? And also, another reason why we do movement in the morning is when you sleep, a lot of waste gets piled in your lymphatic system, right? In the kind of the neck, in the armpits, and in the groin, right? And if you don't move those areas in the morning, that's what contributes to you feeling a little bit sluggish, right? So you want to get up, get moving, get that waste, those toxins moving around and out of the body. So morning movement is absolutely pivotal. But also, as a lot of my clients, right, they don't necessarily work from one place. They're not just working from home. They travel a lot, or they work in multiple offices, or some days they're away from home. Maybe they're in London, maybe they're across time zones in the US. So the program has to fit any environment, but it also has to fit their goals, and it needs to fit your likes. So if you're pulling together your own program, right, it needs to tick those 3 boxes. Can I use it in any environment? Which is basically saying if I've only got a gym routine and I don't know what sort of body weights or cardio or anything else like that I can do, right? And it can't fit like a smaller time frame, then it's not going to work for you long term. Equally, let's say you work with I don't know, like a personal trainer, and they design something for you. Now, whilst they're working with you, you might just suck it up and do it. But if you don't like the exercise that you're doing, right, you're not going to continue this afterwards. So it needs to fit your individual goals. It needs to be environment specific, and you also have to enjoy it, right? So the types of things that we tend to do are, resistance training is fantastic for building muscle, for burning fat, right? But it's not necessarily for everyone. Okay, we use high intensity interval training because it spikes your metabolism. You tend to burn more calories in a shorter period of time. Some people who are working towards a challenge, right, or who just don't like higher intensity exercise, they prefer lower intensity steady state. So we need sort of a program that fits that. And some people, again, working towards a specific challenge, or they have something that's sport specific. So it's understanding different programs, hundreds of different exercises that can be tailored towards you. And then the third and final part is to integrate into your day. So a lot of people that I work with or have even talked to and actually just, consulted with, not worked with, one of the key things that I get is like, Alex, I just don't have enough time. Right? I'm really focused on my business. I'm growing my business. I'm growing my career. I don't have enough time. And when you view time as, an absolute, we all have 24 hours in the day, right? It can be very hard to find an hour, 45 minutes, even 20 minutes or half an hour to fit into your day. So one of the things that I get my clients to do, and this isn't applicable to everyone. If you're in an office 5 days a week, maybe you can't do this. But more and more people are working from home now. So this is possible on at least the days that you're working from home, is implement stations. So I have 3 stations, right, at my house and where I work. So I work very close to where I live. And 3 stations here, 3 stations at my home. And every time I pass through the office door, for example, that's 10 press-ups. Every time I go to the toilet, right, just before the toilet, not on the toilet, that's 25 squats. Every time I put the kettle on, that's 10 burpees. Now, it might seem, Alex, like what's the point? That's hardly anything, right? I'm not actually doing that much. But if you think about it, like you do these actions quite a lot per day. So you're getting maybe, 30 to 40 press-ups in a day, maybe sort of 75 squats in, maybe something like, 30 to 40 burpees. And you extrapolate that over a week, that is an extra 1 to 2 exercise sessions, what you get done in 45 minutes, right? That takes you 1 minute, right? 1 minute for each time you kind of pass through the doorway or go to the kettle, right? So stop viewing or using exercise and movement and fitting it into your day, not having necessarily the strict exercise sessions, is a way for you to start getting results, even if you are really short on time. So that's exercise and movement. And the second pillar then is nutrition and energy. And the protocol I use here is what we call conscious consistency. Now, anyone that's heard me speak before knows that I am not a fan of diet. So the first thing that I say is ditch the diet. And I can already hear screams from some of you watching, oh, I've got such a good result on keto, or I swear by the paleo, or, aren't you vegan? No, right? I eat fairly healthily, right? A personal choice, right? But I use and I recommend something called conscious consistency, which is actually more of a lifestyle change. And it's about consciously bringing awareness to what you are eating. It's amazing how many of us are unaware of what we're putting into our bodies on a daily, weekly basis. A, we don't understand how many calories is in the food that we're eating. And B, sometimes we just go on autopilot and we just eat whatever's available, right? We get hungry, right? We get we reach for convenience food. We get emotional. We just order takeaways on on speed dial, right? So conscious consistency is about becoming more aware of what we're eating and then consistently making micro adjustments to make it healthier, to make your diet and nutrition give you more energy, right? If we think about the principle of becoming a corporate athlete, like we want to have more energy so that we can get more done in a quicker amount of time, or we're just more switched on, we're more sharp, right? So this is all about energizing both the mind and the body. So a couple of things from a nutritional point of view. This is just very general pointers, right? When I work with clients, we do this on a much deeper level, but this is just very general pointers for you to take away and look at, right? Most people that I work with are having too much carbohydrate in their diet, and particularly processed carbohydrate, or what we call like high GI carbohydrates, those that give you a spike in energy, right? So they're really easy to break down in the body. They give you instant energy that causes an insulin response, and then the sugar gets shunted out of the blood, and then you have a dip in energy afterwards, right? And so most people can do well to increase the amount of protein that they have, and also to increase the amount of fiber that they have. Right? Protein, because if they're exercising, it's going to help to rebuild broken down muscle fibers. It's also a more complex molecule, so it's going to help you feel fuller for longer. Fiber, because most people, well, a lot of people have some degree of inflammation in the intestinal tract. So fiber helps move food through the intestinal tract and start making you more regular more of the time, right? But you also need to understand the science, right? So there's a great site. Anyone watching this live, head over to Legion Athletics. So you can just type into Google Legion Athletics macronutrient calculator, right? And it will allow you to work out how many calories do I need to stay at the same weight, to put on a bit of muscle, to lose weight, right? So that will start to give you some of the basic science that you need, right? And again, you guys don't need to get super complicated here. I know you're all super busy, right? You just need to understand the basics, right? How many calories should I be consuming, right? Because then you can start to learn what's in the types of foods that I like to eat. Am I eating way too many calories for my specific goal? Maybe it's kind of losing weight. Am I just about right, or am I kind of under eating? And the part where we energize the mind in addition to the body is starting to paint a picture of the vision that we want to achieve, the body that we want, the performance that we want. Maybe it's the broad sort of holistic performance of having a career at a certain level of physique to match, and a family unit that you spend time and are present with, right? But whatever that vision is for you, defining what that is, and then starting to emotionally commit to it, right? Emotionally tie yourself to it, so that your mind is energized to take action, to help you to take action. The mind is a tool, right? It's energized to help you to take action towards achieving those goals. If you don't energize the mind and you don't emotionally link your vision to your values, what happens? Life gets in the way. Work starts to take over again, and we revert to type, right? So this is incredibly important. Now, in addition to this, to optimize energy, there's just a couple of other things we want to do. We want to rebalance, start to rebalance hormones. And most people, again, that I've worked with, if your diet is rich in carbohydrates, what is probably occurring is you're starting to become leptin insensitive, right? So there's two hormones in the body which determine hunger and satiety, and they are called leptin and ghrelin. Now, if you keep eating a diet rich in carbohydrates, simple processed carbohydrates, that can affect leptin binding at the hypothalamus in the brain. So acting as a signal to say, hey, I'm full. So, ask yourself this, like, how many slices of pizza could you eat? How many avocados could you eat? Now, if your answer was something like, well, I could probably, at a push, I could eat 14, 16, 20 slices of pizza, maybe, right? But I could only eat sort of like 2 avocados. It's because people that eat more processed foods, there's such a deficiency of minerals in them, right? Such a deficiency in minerals in them. But again, the body's craving more. It's craving more. It's asking for more, right? And we also want to look at sleep, because if you're not getting consistent sleep, right, your body's going to be under recovered. Your circadian rhythm, which is basically your body's master clock, is probably going to be offset. So if this is you and you wake up in the morning and you feel a little bit tired, you feel a bit sluggish, and you need a certain amount of coffees to get you going, couple of things can start to help with this, right? When you go to sleep, try to reduce the exposure to artificial blue light, because the blue light in the light bulbs around the room is about 4 times more powerful than that of the sun. It causes a cortisol response in the body, and that signals that it is actually from the body thinks it's the middle of the day, right? It thinks it's the middle of the day. So that impedes nighttime hormone production, melatonin, serotonin, and then you don't go through the appropriate rest and repair. Also, one of the first things you can do now, like we're lucky to have this in the UK, we've got a bit of sunshine finally for summer, is go out in the mornings and just get 5 minutes of sunshine, right? The sun is what resets your circadian rhythm. So 5 minutes in the morning, take your coffee out if you want, right, is going to help give you that energy boost in the morning. Now, we're not looking for wholesale transformation here. Like with some of these tactics, we're looking for 1% gains, which when you do them consistently over weeks, months, years, then you get that wholesale transformation. So pillar 3, high performance. And this is maybe one of my favorites, right? And I think this is where it starts to get a little bit different from maybe some of the stuff that you've heard of before, particularly in the health space. Right? So number 3 is called high performance routines. And there's a couple of principles here that I like to talk about, right? One is Kaizen, which just means focusing on 2 to 3 things each week, right? One is scheduling and one is compound interest. So let's start with the first one. So planning for success. The reason why people that have, and this is just my opinion, right? But the reason why people that have morning and evening routines are in general more successful and earn more is because they're setting themselves up from a physical, an emotional, and a mental standpoint to be ready for the day. And then they reflect, right, from an emotional and mental standpoint in the evening that allows them project for the next day, right? So it's this continual daily cycle. And it doesn't have to take that long, right? My morning routine, maybe that sort of takes a little bit longer. It takes me about an hour. But when I first start doing this with clients, we plan this in so that it takes no longer than 15 minutes. 12 to 15 minutes is all you need, okay? So planning for success, right? Putting in the morning and evening routines. When are you going to do them? When are you going to exercise, right? Actually scheduling that into your diary, treating it as if you would treat it a meeting with your boss. Nutrition, right? Planning the meal. And this doesn't mean having a nutrition plan, right? You guys are busy. You don't have time to like eat this, eat this, eat this at this point in time. But it's just starting to plan, what am I and how am I going to eat for the next day? If I'm traveling, do I have some food prepared? Do I know where I can get some food that's going to support me with my goals? If I'm eating out, have I looked at the menu online? Do I know what I can eat that's going to support me with my goals? If I'm drinking, what type of alcoholic drinks do I want to have? How many calories are in them? How many, do I want to save some calories for an evening meal by intermittently fasting in the morning? So it's starting to plan for success. And Kaizen, right? Not viewing transformation as here's a plan. Here's my life. Here's a plan of like takes me from A to B. I'm going to change wholesale overnight. It's not that you can't do that. Some people can, right? But it requires a huge amount of discipline. It causes a huge amount of stress because you're learning new patterns of behavior, new things, and it's very, very different to how you've maybe eaten, exercise, and thought before. Whereas Kaizen says, actually, let's just focus on 2 to 3 things, right, each week. Let's start to focus on just those things, and let's get some wins. Let's build some momentum. And until they start to become a little bit easier, when you first start driving and it's like it takes quite a lot of energy, right? But then suddenly you can just start to drive and you can almost do it on autopilot, right? Same with brushing your teeth, right? All of these things, all of these practices took a lot of energy when we were learning them, but they become a lot more habitual the more and more we do them. So with Kaizen, we just focus on 2 to 3 things each week, and that is it. Okay, and compound interest. So at the beginning, I said one of the benefits that you can take away from this is 52 days extra per year. And this is applicable, let's say you're getting up at 6:30, right? As I used to do. Like I used to get up, probably going back 6 years ago, something like that, I would get up at 6:30 or 7. Now, I now get up at 5 o'clock religiously, right? I now get up at 5 o'clock religiously. And if you take the difference between 5 and 6:30, right, and you just start to get up a little bit earlier, it's not that you necessarily have to work or work out doing it. You can do what you want in that hour and a half. But let's say just the 5 working days, that gives you an extra 7.5 hours per week, right? An extra working day for some people, right? An extra working day. Times that by however many weeks in the years, you've got an extra 52 days per year to play with. Like, imagine what you could do with that. Imagine just for a second, if you did that for 10 years, right? That's over a year, almost a year and a half worth of additional time over a 10-year period from just getting up an hour and a half earlier. So for any of you that, and I'm not saying that, some of you might be saying, sat there thinking, well, Alex, look, I get up at 4:30 already. Certainly cool, right? You kind of already sort of adopting some of this stuff. But for anyone that is getting up at 6:30, right, I challenge you to see like, how much more can you get done, right, by getting up at 5 o'clock. But it's not just getting up at 5 o'clock, it's developing the morning routine, right? And actually applying that to your life that allows you to then earn more on top of that. And setting your frame so that physically, mentally, emotionally, and in some case, I think the term here spiritually is a little bit loaded for some people. All I mean when I refer to this is energetically, right? Energy, right? But actually setting the frame so that rather than bowling into the day at like a 6 or a 7, having woken up a little bit late, frantically trying to get stuff done, stuff slips by the wayside and you arrive at your laptop and you're a little bit frazzled, right? Taking a little bit more time to do things methodically, right? Taking a little bit more time to be present with your family in the morning, right? And actually having a system and routine that allows you to show up consistently at an 8, 9, or 10 out of 10. That's what the high performance routines are about. Does that make sense, guys? Hopefully this is helpful. So we're going to talk about the final pillar of transformation. And if the last one was my favorite, this is what I think is the most important one. This is the missing ingredient to any successful change initiative, right? From changing your body to a change initiative at work, right? To changing relationships in any social dynamic, it's mastering your mindset. Now, for some of you, and this was myself, right? For some of you, the all or nothing mindset might have got you to a certain point, in your career, let's say. But in your health and your overall holistic performance, it's the one thing that is holding you back. Because if you think of it in terms of all or nothing, there will always be that fuck it moment where you kick things into touch, when work takes over because you're in that all, I'm going to give it my all. And work generally is the thing that tends to take over the most, in my experience, with the types of people I coach, right? If you're stuck in that all or nothing mindset, you will be stuck in an infinite loop with your health and your holistic performance. Now, what you can do instead is you can have it all, right? So we can drop the nothing out of it, but it requires balance, right? It requires you to actually say, like, look, I might not get as much done in this day specifically, but if I look at my week and how I spend my energy, I'm going to get more done in the week by just saying, right, I'm going to down tools now and we'll pick up tomorrow. I'm going to rebalance my schedule and I'm going to achieve more by putting in place boundaries, right? And actually, when it's time to shut the laptop and it's time to be present with the kids and you're having an evening meal, or it's time to actually do exercise, it's time to go and meet some friends, having those boundaries in place to say, look, work stops, this stuff takes over, okay? And that breeds a growth mindset, which allows you to start to have it all. And I think the second part is starting to, self-identity is one of those words that I think can scare people. I was listening to a podcast the other day and someone was talking about self-identity and they're saying, any life coach in particular says, I want to change your self-identity. People are like, fuck that. I don't want to change my self-identity. I'm happy with who I am. There's bits of my character that maybe I don't like or I'd like to change. I want to change who I am. So I'm gonna steer away from like change your self-identity, right? But just starting to view yourself as maybe like a corporate athlete, right? It's a term that I quite like because, you know, athletes are people that are performing at the very top of their sport, right? Like the Lionesses, right, in football, they are athletes. They have certain rituals, they have certain standards that they must commit to. Now, you guys, a lot of you guys watching this are at the very top of your game in business. That's your sport, right? So you are corporate athletes. You are performing at the top of your game. And so with that, it's like bring that same level of desire and determination to yourself, not just the work that you do at work, but how you treat yourself outside of work, the personal, right? The delineations between personal and professional are blurring time and time, right? So if you can start to view yourself as a corporate athlete, if you can start to ramp up the desire, if you can start to instill the discipline, your performance levels will increase exponentially. But it's viewing it holistically and not just in a work capacity that will allow you to do that. And the final part here about mindset is just starting to upgrade your software, right? Think about think about like the mind as, you know, it's a collection of neurons, right, in the brain. And with 3 brains, right? I won't go into too much detail about it, but a collection of neurons, right? And the predominant thought patterns are just those neurons that are most hardwired together and that have the strongest impulses going along. Now, if we can start to put in new thoughts and connect that to new feelings, we start to create new loops, right? And if we can do that consistently, instilling those thoughts, feeling those feelings, what we start to do is create new patterns or new programs in the brain. And if we do that consistently over time, we condition our minds, right, by thinking new thoughts and feeling new feelings, aligned to a vision that we want to achieve, right, a change initiative that we want to achieve. We start to condition ourselves into what we call a future present reality, as opposed to what most people live in, which is a past present reality, right? Waking up thinking the same overriding thoughts that we've always thought based on previous experience, having having the associated feelings of thinking those thoughts, those feelings deriving new thoughts, right? So basing ourselves into the past. If we can start to do this, we start to condition ourselves into a future present reality, and we start to upgrade the software in our mind. So those are, right, the 4 pillars of transformation. Hopefully you guys are still with me, right? So we've got exercise and movement, we've got nutrition and energy, we've got high performance routines, and we've also got mindset. Okay, these are your 4 key pillars of transformation. Now, maybe some of you, I just wanted to tackle this head on because some of you will probably be watching this and you'll be thinking, this is kind of cool. Like, I can see like maybe, but like, you know, I just have no time. And again, I touched on this earlier, like ask yourself, is that true? And if you're like, yeah, Alex, look, I have no time. I really have no time. It's like, is that 100% the truth? Or is that just the narrative that you're spinning yourself? Right? Because quite often when we break it down, we all have 24 hours in the day. You know, the weekly screen report that pops up on your phone, how many hours does it say you spend on that? Is that all checking emails, doing work-related stuff? Or is there kind of dead time in there, right? So this have no time for a lot of people, and for most of the clients I work with, it's an illusion. It's a faulty belief pattern. It's what we tell ourselves to try and keep ourselves safe from actually having to face the truth that we can change, we can evolve, we can actually make the time. And when we view it as like, well, you know, Alex, well, I have to exercise 4 or 5 times a week. You know, no, you don't, right? Viewing time in smaller chunks, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and breaking down like what can you control, not what you can't control. And maybe you're also thinking like, I can do this by myself. Awesome. Like that's what this is for, right? This system is to, or this talk today is like basically to give you the system so that you can do this by yourself. Now, there's a kind of caveat to that, and it's if you've tried repeatedly and failed, or you want to get there faster, or you want a guaranteed route to achieve success, and you've constantly gone round in circles before, it's like sometimes you have to be honest with yourself. It's like, can you do it by yourself? Like, if you were going to, you may have done it already, right? So be honest with yourself. Like, can you do this by yourself? Or do you need help? Right? And then maybe the third one is like, I've tried this in the past and like nothing works for me, right? My situation is unique. I've tried it in the past, right? It just doesn't work for me. And look, this could be true, right? Some people have certain conditions, some people have certain limitations, right? But all I would say is just try this. This isn't just some theory for you guys to understand intellectually. This is a system for you to take away and be like, okay, that I think could work for me. Maybe I'll take that. Like, that's a cool concept. Maybe I'll take that. Right? Take it, see what works for you. Have an experience with it. Right? This is not just designed to like be theoretical. It's designed to be practical and help you achieve certain benefits and outcomes. So hopefully that helps. And I think this is really key, right? If you can optimize your schedule, right, sort out your outer game. If you can increase your energy levels and your mindset, you can start to become more productive. You can start to earn more, and you can start to reduce your overall stress levels. Right? And these are just some guys that have actually done that, right? So this was a client of mine, finished up a couple of months back. He worked through the 4 pillars of transformation. He applied it, and look, he was doing well before. He wasn't necessarily out of shape. He's carrying a little bit too much timber. On the program, he lost 7 kilograms. He got to 12% body fat. But more important than that, like that was the goal when he came in. And then what he started to realize, he's kind of written a little bit about it there. It's like, I'm starting to perform better in all areas of my life. I've got better work-life balance, but I'm still getting more done at work, right? And why is that? Because there's more energy, there's more focus, there's more productivity. And when you actually implement the 4 pillars of transformation rather than just understanding them intellectually, it really is a life-changing system, right? So don't just take my words for it. He's put it down there, right? And look, this chap was like just turning 40. So any of you guys, sort of young bucks or younger bucks that are reading this, like this works when you're 40. But also, this is Dave, and Dave was 60, I think 60, 61 when I started working with him. Right, had allowed himself to get out of shape, and who he was seeing in the mirror just wasn't the man that he had in his head. Right, there was a disconnect with that kind of term self-identity. Right. So yes, there's a weight loss element, right? Losing 16 pounds, but it's more than that. There's because this is a holistic framework, what you learn in 12 weeks, right? You can adopt and adapt for 12 years plus. And he now has that high performer mindset back again. He's looking to advance and develop all other areas, or a number of other areas of his life outside of just fitness. And you can probably look at the photos. It's like at 60, like hell, if I had a physique like that at 60, I'd be pumped, right? I would be super pumped. So that's pretty much it, guys. What I just wanted to also go through is this is designed as a system, right, for you to take away, for you to implement into your own life. And look, if you've got any questions, please do drop them in the comments below. But if you want an opportunity to actually step into becoming that powerful man who does have it all, right? And you want to get some help because you've either failed in the past, right? You want some expert help. You want to get there faster, go quicker, right? And start to realize some of these benefits, right? Because for whatever reason, these areas of performance are what's holding you back. You're smashing the career. You've done well in the career. Families tick, right? But actually just some of these areas of performance are what holding you back. Then look, this all starts with just a simple and honest conversation. This isn't like a chance for me to sell you. In fact, there's nothing for sale here, right? This is just for a chance for you to ask a few questions and for me to find out about your goals specifically, right? So if you do want to take advantage of that, I'm going to pop the link to how you can sort of book a conversation with me. I'm going to pop that in the comments of this live. So if you do want to do that and you're watching this live, just keep an eye out for that afterwards. And look, if you're watching this on replay, obviously just have a look in the comments and it will be there. right? So this is not, again, this doesn't mean we're going to be able to work together. This doesn't mean you'll be invited into Reignite Pro. It's just to find out, like, what are you working on? How could we, like, what synergies exist? How can we potentially help you, right? Help you get the results that you're after, the outcomes that you want, right? Performance coaching is very, very results driven. We're not going to sit here and talk about feelings all of the time, right? This is not life coaching, right? Not dissing life coaches, but this is very, very results driven and outcome based. And you guys are the ones that define the outcomes and the results that you want, no one else, right? So one of the first things that we kind of do, like if we do want to work together, is we look at getting clarity on your vision, right? What are the specific outcomes that you're looking to derive? So we're just about wrapping up. Let me just pop back. I hope that's been useful. I hope there's some stuff in there that you guys can take away today. Think about maybe over the weekend, right? Relax, rest, recharge over the weekend, and then maybe start to put into your week from as early as next week, right? From next Monday. This system works, right? We've had 113 guys through the program over the last 4 and a bit years. And when I first started doing it, it's probably getting results with like 5 or 6 out of 10 people. Now we get results with 8 or 9 out of 10 people, but sort of somewhere between 8 and 9. Now, anyone that says that they get results with everyone is lying. Not even Tony Robbins does that, right? So this system does work for the vast majority of people. So I challenge you to take stock, take notes, to maybe watch this back, right, on replay if you thought it was interesting and you wanted to just go back to some points, right, and to see what you can implement into your own lifestyle, right? And look, if you do want to go faster, you do want to look at getting some help, you're tired, sick and tired of like going around in an infinite loop and just not being able to crack, this element, right? Whether it's health, whether it's just overall holistic performance, bringing balance back into your life, then please do book a call. Link's going to be in the comments after this presentation. All right, all that remains to be said is stay safe, enjoy the weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Take care.